Previously in Chucky, Jake bought the doll, his cousin Junior kept bullying him because he's gay, at school Lexi also bullied him, in the talent show he was also bullied, and even at home his father beat him up. Until finally, Chucky appears in his life and solves all those problems, talks about a secret of his aunt, kills his father, claims to be Charles Lee Ray, and now he only has to solve the problem with the brat girl. That's why today on the Summarizer, Chucky Episode 2. This episode begins with another flashback to 1965, when Charles Lee Ray is with a bunch of candy on Halloween night, but the candy doesn't matter. What matters is that at one moment he grabs an apple with a razor blade inside, and although he's afraid at first, he bites it and keeps smiling when his blood comes out. Back to the present, it's October 31st, which means it's Halloween, a night when in most cities kids dress up in costumes and happily go out for candy. But here in Hackensack, Halloween also means bloodshed and butchery, because violence in that city has always spiked on Halloween, maybe because they celebrate all day long there. Plus this year, Halloween just happens to fall on a full moon, another sign of doom and destruction, so they must be on the lookout. Back to Jake's life, now he lives with his aunt and uncle who has a super expensive car, and they always say it's a Lexus, so I guess the brand must have paid something. Anyway, on the trip we find out that his father is forcing Junior to take vitamins because in a few days there are some regional competitions coming up, and it's one of the most important races of his life. After a while, the two cousins enter the school. Well, actually at first only Junior enters because Jake is a little weird and stays talking for a while with his new adoptive parents. There his uncle gives him some money for lunch, and finally he decides to go in. But there everyone is talking about his father's death and what he did at the talent show with his doll. Anyway, the important thing is that Oliver shows up and now apparently is a good person, so he tells him that he didn't miss much while he was away, and finally he says he just wanted to express his condolences and apologize for every time he ever gave him shit. Oh, and on top of that, what it seems like he can't be a nicer guy, he tells him that he's having a Halloween party tonight and invites him to go. The only problem is that Jake doesn't have a costume, so his new friends tell him to go with Chucky. After that, we go with stupid Lexi and her dumb boyfriend, who are worried about what Jake said about his mother's secret, but they also are happy because apparently the teachers won't let Jake keep bringing Chucky to school because of all that stuff that happened that time at the talent show. After that, they talk about the costume party that night, and although Junior wants to know, his girlfriend doesn't want to tell him about the costume she chose because it's a surprise. Meanwhile, Jake crosses paths with his friend Devin, who says sorry for his father's death and also tells him that he was thinking about him. But really, he was only thinking about him because his father also died when he was a kid, and that caused his family to distance, and now he barely talks to his mother. The point is that he would have never gotten over it without his friends, so he asks if he's going to the party tonight and if he's gonna bring Chucky. Yes, because apparently everyone cares too much about a doll they think is just average. And speaking of Chucky, our hero is resting in Jake's new room, where the lady who cleans the house is working. But I'm not sure why, Chucky starts laughing and breaks a vase, so the woman has to clean it without realizing it was the doll. And on top of that, the lady sees that Chucky has a drop of blood on his face, so she cleans him up, and now Chucky is clean to kill. But when she goes down to the kitchen, she realizes that a lot of knives are missing. And on top of that, it seems that something is following her. All the knives were in the dishwasher though, so that's okay. Well, actually, they may need a new wash. After that, Jake and his cousin return to their house, and in the background, Chucky appears going upstairs. The two of them start talking in the kitchen, but not realizing that the housekeeper is dead next to them. Anyway, Junior is still being a jerk. He tells him that he doesn't need him offering popsicles in his house, and it seems like he's kinda jealous. I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter, because Jake sees the dead housekeeper and they decide to call the police. A while later, they take the body. There appears Detective Evans telling them that it's a common death, that something similar had already happened in Vancouver last year, and they think it was just a slip. But the other detective, Sean, says that instead of a slip, it could have also been a push. And there he starts to suspect Jake because he was involved in the last two deaths caused by accidents in the town. But still, everyone knows from the security cameras that no one entered the house before the boys came home from school, so it doesn't make much sense what the other detective says. So finally, the police ask them if Junior or Jake could have some kind of problem with Annie, but they tell her that Jake barely knew her and Junior couldn't have done anything to her either because she raised him from a very young age and was practically like his mother. A while later, he goes back to his room and Jake talks to Chucky about what happened, but he swears to him that he didn't do it.
Swear to God, I didn't kill her.
And on top of lying to him, he starts reading his diary and laughs at all the things he writes about his friend Devin. But he still tells him that he also has a queer kid who is gender fluid, and he's fine with that because he may be a serial killer, but he says he's not a monster. There, Jake tells him that if he isn't a monster, why'd he kill Annie? But he keeps telling him that it wasn't, because they only kill people who have it coming. To which Jake replies that he's different because he never killed anyone. Later, Chucky keeps telling him that it was an accident and that he could have killed anyone during the last week, but he didn't because he's trying to help Jake. Since he's now his only friend, he didn't kill the housekeeper, and now he has his sights set on something bigger, on someone who really deserves to die. In the evening, both parents doubt if it was really an accident and begin to realize that they don't know Jake that well. Anyway, that doesn't matter much. What matters is that Junior was listening to everything, and at that moment, he enters Jake's room, grabs his computer, and realizes that he was looking at pictures of his girlfriend. But at that moment, Jake enters, and Junior ends up leaving the room, telling him to stay away from his girlfriend. But in the hallway, he hears him talking to someone and what sounds like a punch. Meanwhile, at Lexi's house, her parents find out about the housekeeper's death, and while they're a little bummed about it, they're distracted while the little sister is making an awesome drawing of Chucky. And even though the parents want the girl to meet the doll, her sister doesn't want to. There she goes to prepare for Oliver's party, but her parents tell her that she must first take her sister trick-or-treating. At Devin's house, his mother tells him about Annie's death and asks him if his friends Junior and Lexi are going to the party. But when she asks him about Jake, he lies and tells her that he doesn't know because he's not in his group of friends. She also asks him if Jake ever talked about violence problems with his father for being gay, but he says he doesn't know anything. At night, everyone is in the streets dressed up for Halloween, and Devin asks Jake if he's coming to the party, but there, his friend tells him that he's not going to be able to go because a problem came up. At Jake's house, Junior dresses up with his father's medals and goes to the party, but without Jake because when he comes down, he has a bruise on his face. His adoptive parents still think it's his Halloween costume, and he claims to be dressed as a victim of circumstances. And even though at first his uncle offers to take him, he doesn't want to go. However, the decision is brief because when he goes upstairs, Chucky's not there, so he goes out to look for him. Because by this point, our hero is wandering around town disguised in a Hello Kitty mask. At one point, Chucky goes trick-or-treating at a house and asks a woman where there's a party. She tells him it's at Oliver's house, and as thanks, he gives her an apple. Although from the intro of the episode, I guess it has something inside. At the party, Junior goes to look for his girlfriend, but she's kinda weird. Anyway, the stupid girl's always kinda weird, and the only important thing is that Junior tells her to watch out for Jake because he's a little strange too. But they both say they're just scared of the doll, and they end up kissing. Jake arrives at the party, but no one cares, and everyone asks him about his doll. There he runs into Devin and tells him that he needs to find Lexi to make sure she's okay. And at one point, they ask Oliver if he saw her, and he says yes, but when they enter the room, they are left locked in the dark for 7 minutes. Meanwhile, Chucky is playing with Lexi's sister, who we learn here is named Caroline. Apparently they are super friends. Chucky tells her that she has the potential to kill, and that if she wanted to, she could kill her sister. But she remembers that her mother always tells her that you don't do those things. And after playing with Chucky for a while, Chucky asks her about her sister, and she tells him that she must be kissing her boyfriend somewhere. Later in the room, we see that Chucky is under the bed. He tries to stab her a couple of times, but misses, and Junior starts hearing strange noises. But just then, a girl comes in, and they end up leaving the room. While the two friends were in the other room, Devin asks him what's wrong with him, and he says that if he tells him the truth, he won't believe him. But just then, he thinks there's Chucky, and ends up looking like he's kinda crazy. After that, they let them leave, and Jake goes to look for Lexi. And please pay attention to the costume that motherfucker chose. And I'll give you a couple of seconds to try to guess it, but I'm sure you're not gonna think she can be that much of a bitch. Yes, she's dressed up as Jake's dead father, and on top of that, she pretends to be dying from electrocution. And I don't know what you guys would do, but can we please have Chucky show up already to continue with the kill count? Seeing this, at first it looks like Jake leaves the party, but then he comes back to confront her. At this point, the woman who told Chucky the address didn't die, but she cut her tongue because of the apple, and she tells the detective that it was the red-haired boy with the denim overall that says good guys. Later, Lexi goes to look for her sister because they must leave, but she didn't want to, because there she has a new friend. But when Chucky's about to kill her, Jake appears to take his doll. Finally at night, the two of them talk. Chucky apologizes for the eye and tells him that he will never do it again. And finally he says that some people just deserve to die.
It's kill or be killed.
Derry tells him that he must choose which side he's going to be on, and tells him to make the right choice and kill the bitch before she kills him. But he doesn't know if he can do it, so Chucky tells him that today everyone was laughing at him and that he's the only friend he has. So he gives him the knife, and Jake finally accepts it. And so ends the second episode of the Chucky series, with only 1 kill, bringing the series total up to 4 kills so far. So that's it for episode 2. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss the episode 3 for next week. Also comment what movies or series you'd like me to summarize for this Halloween month, and share this video with your friends. See you later.
Go to work.
Okay. Bye.